Okay, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. My name is Yetunde Adeshile. I'm here on behalf of Basildon Side by Side, and today it's all about the census. What is the census? Why is it happening now? Why are we all here? Well, you'll hear more about it because I'm not the census. I'm not the census professional here. So I'm going to soon hand over to the professional that will be talking about the census this afternoon. So at the end of the day, just listen to Reverend Ibiayo and Nina Head. Nina Head is actually working with the census team in nationally, but she's been allocated, I believe, to the whole of Essex. Is that right? Nina?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
And Reverend Ibiayo is representing Basildon Side by Side, and he's actually the thematic group lead for the community and community cohesion engagement, who is responsible for sharing all about the census in our community. So Reverend David, you'll be hearing from him a bit later on. Nina, I'm going to hand over to you very shortly. Nina's going to give us a short presentation this afternoon, and then following that, Reverend David will ask questions that might be bothering, that are likely that you, the audience, would want to want answered. So between Nina and Reverend David, we're hoping to satisfy your curiosity that you might have, any questions you might have with regards to the census 2021. So without spending too much time further, I'm going to hand over to Nina, who will take over and talk us through the census presentation. Over to you, Nina.
Thank you so much, Yetunde. It's wonderful to be here today and to be able to present to Basildon Side by Side, which is a fantastic organisation which I know has just been set up. It's an absolute privilege to be with you here today. Just let me know when you can see my screen. I'm going to share my screen now and hopefully we can get the presentation started. Okay, hopefully that's up on your screen. If you could come off of mute and just let me know if you can see it, and then hopefully I can begin. Can you guys see what I'm seeing before I start?
Oh, yes, we can see it very clearly.
Excellent, thank you so much. So as Yetunde kindly introduced me, my name is Nina Head. I work for the Office of National Statistics, and I'm the Census Engagement Manager for South West Essex. So I make up one of four engagement managers across the whole of Essex. There's 17 of us in the east of England and 195 of us across England and Wales. So our role is to get an understanding of our local areas, and most importantly, to work with any community that needs support in filling out their census. So that means I'm working with local organisations, charities, community groups, faith leaders and media channels to spread the word that the census is coming, why it's important to stand up and be counted, and to put in place any interventions and support for anybody that needs help in completing the census. So what is the census? So the census is a once in a decade national household survey, and it provides the most accurate data for England and Wales. It's taken place since 1801, and the only year that it hasn't gone ahead is in 1941, and that was due to World War II. As you will have picked up, when I'm talking about the census, I'm looking at just the coverage for England and Wales. So Scotland and Northern Ireland have different statistical bodies, with Northern Ireland going ahead on the same date as ONS and Scotland in 2022. So Census 2021 is going to be held on the 21st of March. So it's 25 days to go and counting. And the information from this census will be available in approximately a year's time. ONS have named this census our digital first, which means it will mainly be online. So we're looking for 75% of all of the household returns to be completed digitally. So it's really important to get as many people as possible to complete online. It's more accurate, it's easier for most users. The form layout is predictive, so it automatically takes you to the sections that you need to complete. It's cheaper and it's greener. Now, that said, paper copies of the questionnaire are going to be available to those who need it, and there's also help available. And I'll come back to this in a little bit more detail, as it's really significant for the digital inclusion of many communities, as well as considering the impact of COVID-19. So why do we have a census? So ultimately, the census ensures that millions of pounds are strategically used. And the information helps decide how services are planned and funded in the local area. So that could include things like planning, development and housing need, so public health and social care, so doctors, surgeries, dentists, numbers of hospital beds, education needs, so school places, adult education and language classes, and transport, so really importantly for Essex commuting services, upgrading transport routes like railways, the A127 local bus routes as examples. So how's it going to work? So in March, a letter is going to be sent to each household, and every letter will have a unique access code to enable online completion. Now, ONS has identified addresses which are less likely to complete online. So 10% of households are going to be sent paper questionnaires in the first instance. Now, even the paper copy has an online code should those households choose to complete the census online rather than returning a paper version. We know that there are people that are going to find this challenging, so we're going to offer a wide range of support services to make sure that the census is as accessible and inclusive as possible. So helping those that can't or won't respond online. So paper questionnaires are available. So as a first contact, so like I described with the previous slide, about 10% of households will be sent a paper questionnaire in the first instance. As a reminder, so if the census isn't completed, as part of the reminder process, a paper copy is automatically sent to those households. It's also possible to order a paper version via the Census Contact Centre. So that's an 0800 number, which will be included on the letter, and it's also going to be publicised nationally. Now, it's important, I've included the telephone number on this slide, but it's only open from the 1st of March. The last one is via the website, so that might be with somebody that needs support if they don't have digital access, for instance, but somebody could order a paper questionnaire for them. Census field officers are also able to provide a paper version on the doorstep as part of that follow-up process. And telephone capture is available. So again, the national telephone number, which is going to be circulated as part of the national campaign, can be used to book an appointment to complete the census over the telephone with an ONS staff member. There are also going to be census support centres, so these are local satellite venues that are available for people to go and get support and complete the census. So accessible versions of the census are available too, and you can see a brief list here. The Easy Read leaflet is proving really popular. So this is a general awareness document that uses pictures to support the meaning of the text. There's also large print versions of the questionnaire, and it's worth saying that the electronic questionnaires have been designed with accessible guidelines, and they're compatible with most assistive technologies. Guidance and support is also available in many languages and formats, as well as translation in about 50 different languages. All of this information can be downloaded from www.census.gov.uk/downloadable resources, and it can also be ordered from the National Census helpline. There's also an advice section on the census website, and that's really for helping somebody who lacks the capacity to answer for themselves. So here you'll see an overview of the census timeline. So engagement activities with communities has already started. So signposting communities to the support that ONS has on offer, as well as developing bespoke support initiatives. The online support centre is live and the national marketing campaign has already been launched. I proudly caught sight of one of the TV ads for the first time this week. Mid-February, so any time now, notification postcards land. So you might have received one already or it's going to land very soon. The 1st of March is when that contact centre opens, and that's the 0800 number that you saw on a previous slide. And in early March, this is a really important one, letters will be received by the household to tell them to take part. Now you can fill in your census straight away, but you have to fill it in as if it was the 21st of March, which is Census Day. That weekend, flagship buildings will be lit up purple to mark Census Day. April and May, as you can see on the slide, is going to be dedicated to the household team to follow up with non-responders. So they will go door to door to provide support for households to fill in the census. COVID-19, so I have to have a slide on COVID. So ONS is well prepared to make census a success, and they've scenario planned with COVID-19 restrictions in mind. So all census activity will be compliant with local government regulations. In terms of impact, it's meant that the majority of engagement activity with communities to date has been virtual, so just like we're doing now. COVID restrictions has also impacted census support centres where you can go to get person-to-person support to fill in the census. So either call the census support centre or go online to find the nearest support centre to you and its opening times. So I know that the nearest one in Basildon is the Lifelong Learning Centre. The follow-up field officers will not go into anybody's homes and they will be wearing full PPE. So data security. Data security is paramount to ONS. So nobody can find out an individual's details for 100 years and responses are protected by law. Everybody must complete the census, it's compulsory, and refusal to do so could result in a £1,000 fine. Top tips. So the census is going to include questions about you, your work and your household, and it will let you identify in a way that most accurately represents you. You can complete your census as soon as you receive your online code. So look out for that letter that has the online code in early March. Get help. Need a paper copy? Call the helpline. Lost your code? Go online and order another one and get it by post or text. Make sure you keep your code private for your own security. Another top tip, completing online. You don't have to do your census in one sitting. It takes approximately 10 minutes per household, remember. Just remember to press save to go back to where you left off. So the questionnaire can also be completed by one member of the household for everybody. However, if you want to identify differently to what's been included on the household questionnaire, a private, separate, individual questionnaire or online code can be provided to supersede the information on the original household questionnaire. Don't forget, 21st of March 2021 is Census Day. Make sure you stand up and be counted. If you have any questions, please contact Side by Side and we'll make sure to cover them in our next video. That's it from me. Thank you so much for letting me present to you all, and I look forward to working with you all the way through to Census Day.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you so much for that presentation. It's been great to have you here. A lot of information there. And I'm hoping that people have captured that. But the beauty of having it all on YouTube is that you can go back and visit and hear it all over and over and over and over again until you understand the bit that you need to understand. So I'm just going to bring on Reverend David Ibiayo, who is working with Basildon Side by Side, and he is the thematic group lead for community cohesion and engagement, and he will be asking questions on behalf of the community. So welcome, Reverend David. So Reverend David and Nina, so Nina will be answering the questions and Reverend David will be asking the questions. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for engaging us, engaging side by side, Nina. It just occurred to me because some people might have the perception of the census, and I want you to make it clear to people. They might just think like, oh, come census day, we have to stay where we are because someone is going to come count us. Is that the case?
It might have been a while ago, but not anymore. So, like I say, now we're asking everybody to complete their census online. So a letter will be received by every household, and that has a unique letter and number. It's about 14 digits long. So you go onto the census website, you put in the code, and then you fill out all of the information that's needed for your household and family. So it takes approximately 10 minutes per family member, like I say. So you can save and go back to it. You don't have to do it in one sitting. But yeah, definitely the responsibility is on the person on the household. There's not going to be someone coming around and counting for you.
Oh, thank you for that. The other thing I was just going to mention is how is the double count avoided? So people who have to resident, probably people who have to go to uni, and of course the residents, how is that avoided?
That's right. So for instance, using your example of students are counted at both their term time address and their home address. And that's really important for services and for some cities where they have a large influx of students and they need to make sure that those services are provided. So there's a separate enumeration process internally, but essentially students are counted at both households.
Oh, thanks for that. Also, in the presentation, you made mention of whereby provision is given for 10% of areas whereby they believe people might not go online. Is that about accurate, or will it be expected to be more than that? Why do I ask this question? Because when it comes to voting, the turnout is very low. So I'm now thinking for this exercise, how engaging will people be? Will everybody be willing to really engage?
Absolutely, we've got really high statistics for return rates. And essentially, this process was put in place to encourage as many as people as possible to be able to respond independently, so without any interventions at the start. So ONS has found those properties which they're less willing to respond on a digital way. And so 10% of households nationally will get that paper copy in the first instance, knowing that that's their preferred option of returning their census. Now, like I say, it's worth saying that those properties, it doesn't exclude them from responding digitally, because there is an access code where those properties that have those paper versions still can respond online if they choose to. It's just ONS already has the data to know that they're most likely to respond with a paper version.
All right. Oh, thanks for that. And how about the people who say, I don't do computers, I don't do online? Like people who are much older.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're well aware that there are people that will feel that way and they will receive a letter with an online code. So the first thing to do, like I say, is to get help. So call the centre number and they can order a paper version. You could also order a paper version online. And if they weren't comfortable with those two options, as part of the reminder process, they will be sent a paper. If still at that point they've received the paper questionnaire but they're unable to complete it, sometime in April, a support officer will knock on the door and they will find out the reason why somebody hasn't completed their census and offer support to them. There's also the same national number that's distributed. Somebody could complete it over the phone if they wanted to. So they'd arrange an appointment with the contact centre and then they'd be able to do their census over the phone.
Okay, so Monday will be the 1st of March. So from Monday, what should households be expecting as regards to census information?
So the national campaign's already started, so that's going to ramp up. So you're going to see a lot more census information out there. So that's on the TV, social media, out and about in the public. So you kind of on bus stops with posters, all of that. And then on the 12th of March, letters are going to arrive, and that is your invitation to participate. Now, you can fill it out straight away, and I'd recommend people to fill out their census as soon as they receive that letter. But the important thing to remember is when you complete your census, you have to complete it as it's Census Day. So the reason why it's Census Day is the 21st of March is it gives a window of society in that moment. It's a picture of the UK on the 21st of March. So for instance, if you receive your letter on the 1st of March, but you know your mother-in-law who is in your support bubble is going to come and stay with you as a visitor on the 21st of March, you can complete it before she comes as a visitor in your census.
Okay. And also, I'm just thinking, because, you know, people who have family abroad, there's always a tendency whereby people might go abroad for a period of time, probably a month or so. What happens to people who find themselves abroad?
So they will need to complete their census. And likewise, if you have any visitors over here, if you're going to be in the country for more than 3 months, you need to be completed on that census.
Oh, no. I'm also thinking of people who will be traveling abroad. Say people who are already abroad now, say for a period of time, 2 months. Or how about those who've gone on, like, say, probably a gap year or things like that?
Yeah, so they'd be covered as part of the follow-up process, and essentially they'd be put down as a non-respondent. So in April, we'd be finding out information about that via door knocking, but essentially they would be a respondent, so they wouldn't be counted. So it's worth mentioning as well that, for instance, if only 98% of people, so we're missing those 2% from your example of somebody being abroad, that's estimated. And how they estimate that 2% of the populace, because the statistics that are provided by the Office of National Statistics always for 100% of the population. So in that scenario, 2%, like I say, have to be estimated, and they come up with that estimate from testing 1% of the nation, which is where census officers go out and they have a more intense questionnaire. And with that questionnaire, we know how to estimate that last 2%.
Oh, thanks for that. Also, talking about relating elections to the census, there are some people who always have the opinion that, oh, it doesn't matter who you vote for, nothing changes. And there might be the people who might be thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter what the census is about, that what's the benefit? People who are thinking like that, what do you have to say to them, the essence, the importance of the census?
So it brings to mind two things. So one, the census isn't affiliated to any government or any government party. It's an independent organisation. But I think the key thing to remember here is that these statistics help strategically plan what funding goes into local areas and what services are provided for. So essentially, it enables all of this money to be strategically used. And without accurate information, we can't strategically use that information. So it's vitally important that communities are shown accurately so that they can have the services that they deserve.
Oh, brilliant. And like I said, one more time, thanks for engaging side by side. In addition, other organizations, what do you do to engage other organizations to ensure that they can reach out to their communities?
So I work with local authorities. So I work with 5 different local authorities across Southwest Essex. And together we come up with a partnership plan. And as part of that partnership plan, that works out the top 10 key population groups, so the top 10 communities need support for that area. And based on that, I come up with an engagement plan to reach out to those communities. And then what we do is again, we come up with bespoke initiatives. And that can be bespoke communication, for instance. It could be specific trends on social media. That could be running completion events in the community. So hopefully on the 12th of April, when community hubs start opening up again, I can go directly to those community hubs and help people fill out the census. They're also key to the message that the census is here and why it's important to stand up and be counted. You know, trusted leaders like yourself, you know, who can help kind of spread word to say census is coming here, make sure you're represented and that you're counted, because it will impact the services that are given to Basildon.
In addition, I remember in your presentation, you said the one time the census did not happen since its inception was 1941. And of course, now this year we have the COVID. How severe is the effect of the COVID? But of course, it cannot be compared to 1941, but what impact is it having on the census, or will it have, you think?
I think it will have a significant effect on the returns, and it will give a window, like I say, of society, how it is, importantly, on the 21st of March. It will definitely show, I expect, that lots more people are working from home, for instance, a shift in what's happened. And that's why it's really important to capture that, so we have a representation of what the pandemic has done. That is the key thing about the census happening once every decade, is we get a window of what society looks like at the time. And it'd be very interesting to see what statistics come back and how that's affected. So it takes approximately a year before those anonymous statistics are returned. So we'll find out in 2022.
All right. And finally, I just want you to remind us about the integrity of the census. Why do I say so? Because you said it's linked to economics, because it determines finance to certain areas. We often hear stories, maybe it might be far-fetched, in countries whereby the census is coming up, and then I just turn out large figures and say, in my constituency, there are 10 million people, so that I can gain financial benefit. Just make it clear to people that that's not the case, or very unlikely for that to happen.
Well, this is why it's so important to have accurate data, you know, and that has to be rigorous, accurate data. And this is why the importance of your online code and the security of that online code when you receive it is absolutely paramount. The flip side of that as well is all data is totally anonymous when it's released as a statistic. So like I say, data security is paramount to ONS, and nobody can find out anybody's details for 100 years. So it's at 100 years that the information is, and so that people can kind of historically look up their ancestors, for instance, their genealogy or family history. But until that, everything is absolutely anonymous, and it goes to show the absolute importance of getting accurate data, which is why we want as many out there census as possible, so that that estimation number that we spoke about, that 2%, as low as possible, so they're not estimated figures.
So finally, what's the day we're not meant to forget for the census?
So you fill out your census on the 21st of March, and that's 25 days time, so it's counting. So the only thing that you have to do is keep your eyes on the post. Once you receive, make sure you get your online code and you complete it online. It's really important to stand up and be counted. It's all about us. So yeah, make sure that you fill it in and take part.
Oh, thank you enough for engaging side by side. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, what a lot of information that we've had there all in one go, but I don't think we spent that long on the presentation. So I hope you've enjoyed it and you've learned and you know everything you need to know about the census. I think the most important thing for me is Census Day is on the 21st of March, and we shouldn't forget that. And I know that definitely we'll be getting some stuff from the post. So watch out for your postal. Don't throw it in the bin, because all the instructions will be there. I don't think they'll be sending it out 2 or 3 times. Is that right, Nina? They're just sending it out once?
Yeah, one letter, that should go. But like I say, if you forget your code, you can go online and order another one. If you want a paper copy, call the contact centre.
Okay, so if you want a paper copy, call the contact center. If you want to order another one, say you think you've received it, you think it's ended up in the bin for one reason or the other, you can go online and request for another one. So just before I go, I think we just need to share our contact details for Basildon Side by Side. Should you have any questions and you live in the Basildon area, regardless of who you are, we are bringing the community together under one umbrella. So if you do have any questions whatsoever, please do try and contact Basildon Side by Side. This is our contact details on the screen now. Do take note of it and contact us. There will be other 2 more presentations similar to this about the census coming up just before the 21st of March. So please look out for that. If you do have any questions whatsoever, please ask Basildon Side by Side. Use the contact details on the screen at the moment to get in touch with us. We will take a note of all the questions that you have. We will fire them to Nina, and then we will get back to you, because by you getting in touch with us means that you have taken everything on board and you do know what to do, or you do have a separate question apart from the questions that Reverend David has kindly asked on behalf of the community today. If you have your own personal questions that you want addressed or want answered, please contact Basildon Side by Side, and we will endeavor to get all the information across to you. All our contact details are there on the screen. The email address is there, our website address is there, Facebook, Twitter, and the telephone numbers that you can call to get further information. I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon's session, and hopefully you'll be joining and you will be doing the census. That's what it's all about. We need you to do the census. It is important for you and I to be counted. It's once in 10 years. You don't have to do it again for the next 10 years. So find the 10 minutes, 10, 20 minutes that you need to complete the form. And it's all about making where we live a better place for all of us. I do hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being a part and listening this afternoon. And we will see you in the very near future. From myself, from me, Yetunde, from Reverend David, from Nina Head, from Basildon Side by Side, we say bye to all of you. Bye. And we will be seeing